Blizzard is known for its many IPs, including Warcraft, StarCraft, and Diablo. Blizzard was founded in 1991 and quickly rose to the top of PC gaming. Let's take a journey back in time to a time when Blizzard was at the pinnacle of PC gaming and gaming in general. And let's examine what happened to this once beloved company who has since fallen from grace to now be one of the most disappointing and despised gaming companies currently in existence. Believe it or not, there was once a time when Blizzard was not constantly bombarded with scandal after scandal, and all of their fans had so much goodwill towards Blizzard that they would tell all of their friends about what an amazing company they were and how great their games and IPs were. Now, for the sake of brevity, we will avoid going through the entire history of the company, but Blizzard's first major hit that went down in history was Warcraft, Orcs and Humans. This was followed up by Warcraft 2, the expansion pack Tides of Darkness, Diablo, StarCraft, Diablo 2, Diablo 2 Lord of Destruction, Warcraft 3, Warcraft 3 The Frozen Throne, and then in 2004 Blizzard bottled lightning with World of Warcraft and made itself a household name. They went on to release multiple successful expansions such as The Burning Crusade and Wrath of the Lich King. But at this point, there was a noticeable difference in the subsequent expansions for World of Warcraft, as well as all the Blizzard titles that have been released to date. They have been watered down, not fun. They have been chock full of political ideology, messaging, and things of that nature that are divisive and that really don't have a place in a fantasy setting or entertainment for that matter. And with the release of Blizzard's most recent title, Diablo Immortal, they have committed the cardinal sin of gaming by introducing the most disgusting, immoral, and egregious pay-to-win that the world has ever seen. It costs literally hundreds of thousands of dollars per character. That's right, you heard correctly, per character, to fully max out. Most of the progression in the game is impossible to achieve without spending thousands, tens of thousands, or hundreds of thousands of dollars. Anyone with any common sense can understand that this is terrible for gaming, and to come from such a once great company makes it all the more sickening. And we all need to push for this type of monetization to be illegal. But I digress. It says a lot about the state of your company when the best release you've had in decades is the remake of Diablo 2, Lord of Destruction, in HD. And the previous remake, they completely screwed up to the point that they pissed everyone off. And the Diablo 2 remake, they hardly did anything for it. And probably the one or two things that irritated people, such as covering of skin and just making some of the character portraits and models uglier, I would bet money was done by Blizzard itself and not the company working on the remake. So what went wrong? What made the original Blizzard so great and the current Blizzard so terrible? Let's examine this in greater detail and take a look at some of Blizzard's past games and some of their current games. So what I would posit is that part of what made Blizzard so great originally was that, for starters, we lived in a much better country where people didn't self-censor near as much as they do today, and also the amount of activists that were attempting to ruin anything that could be tied back to European history, masculinity, and male drive. Most forms of entertainment these days are made solely to appease the rainbow people and the alphabet people, but they have to make sure at the same time that any straight red-blooded male also gets their comeuppance. And they do this a number of ways, either by taking franchises, IPs, or characters that have long represented something or have a certain appearance, and then they take them and morph them and disfigure them and transfigure them into something unrecognizable, in something that they know will upset those people who appreciated those characters beforehand. They are not able to actually create any of their own content, really, or characters or stories. So instead, they just take the characters and stories that other people love, and these are the people that they tend to hate. So they like to take their cherished items and toys and break them and dash them to pieces. And you will come to see this a lot in modern Blizzard. They have almost a disdain and a hatred for their fan base, and you can see it in their design philosophy. Oftentimes they will mock their fans on their own forums and throw out things like,
Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have phones, right?
So now let's take a quick look at something Blizzard created at its peak, at the very pinnacle of its existence. And Blizzard's cinematics used to be the best of the best, and arguably they still are in terms of animation, although many other companies have kind of bridged the gap and are now producing cinematics either on par or very close to Blizzard. But Blizzard cinematics used to be that treat that drove you in their games to complete story missions, just to see the cinematics, because at that time they were breathtakingly beautiful. There was nothing remotely close to them. And I remember when I first saw this cinematic, I got chills down my back, and I was so excited to play this game. I just could not wait for it to come out. I didn't know exactly what it would be. It ended up being a little different than what I had imagined, but it was still, you just had to be there when it first came out in order to get that vanilla experience playing this game back in the day when dial-up internet was still the norm. called it Lag Forge for a reason, because I would lag out on 56k and end up in that pit almost every single time that I went into Ironforge to try and go to the auction house. I usually avoided it, and I'd try and go at night when it was not quite as busy. But you can just see how epic the feel of this game is. At the time, Diablo 2 PvP was huge, and so just seeing these battles in the game, I could not wait to try the PvP in WoW. So now that we've seen that, let's take a look at what WoW has become. And you saw from the artwork before from Chris Metzen, as well as the WoW original cinematic, that Warcraft, while it didn't always take itself seriously, it was still a darker world, and for the most part, the story and the atmosphere was serious. Now we look at this, and they've reduced Warcraft to just a cartoonish mobile game that's probably going to have more grotesque pay-to-win elements, and it's just basically a cash grab, unfortunately. Just like Diablo Immortal and Hearthstone. That's how Blizzard thinks it's going to make the most money, and so that's what it's going to do. That's the really only consideration when it comes to these. I don't believe that any fans were asking for something like this, but you know, that's what they're going to make. And we'll take a look in a moment at the people that used to make Blizzard games, and we'll take a look at the people that make them now, and we'll just do a little comparison. So I remember they always used to say that they were making games that they wanted to play.
This question's kind of
Unfortunately, now they're just making games that their corporate overlords think will make money.
Did Richard Knack ask you to ask that? Did he roll me on that? Damn it. I'll roll that out. I'll let the guys off the hook. The answer is, my bad. And how I was talking about the hard drive being full, essentially what happened is that in the War of the Ancients trilogy, the first book, Richard had created a character named Hakkar. I think it was Hakkar the Houndmaster, if memory serves. Pretty cool demon character, who's one of the agents of the Burning Legion. And I think what happened, which happens more often than I really want to admit, it was just such a cool name, it was just kind of jumbling around in the hard drive. And when I went to jam out Hakkar the Soul Flayer, Hakkar, I'm a genius, you know? These guys roll me on that like daily, right? Like, dude, you know Luke Skywalker's already taken, right? Who took it, you know? So, that was my bad. So I'll try not to do those anymore.
Now, that was Chris Metzen in 2005 at BlizzCon, I believe, and he was kind of the lore master behind most of the early stories from Blizzard in their major IPs. And if memory serves correctly, he's used to be in a rock and roll band, a metal band, so he brought a lot of that attitude, and he was an artist as well, so he did a lot of their just storyboard art. If you remember the old game manuals from their early games, most of that black ink art was him, and it was pretty epic to see as a kid. It was very brutal, and some of the female characters were more revealing than anything you had probably seen at a young age, so it was very rock and roll. Now let's take a look at the current people that are working at Blizzard. And keep in mind as you're watching this, this is official Blizzard advertisement, and I have not cut or edited anything from this, aside from just shortening the length of the clip.
Hi, I'm Justine.
And I'm Adam, and today we have the honor of introducing you to
Warcraft Arclight Rumble!
So what is this game? What is this game? This is a mobile strategy, fast-paced hero collector
And villain collector.
game that has a vast PvE campaign. It also has dungeons and raids and PvP and co-op and everything you'd expect of a Warcraft game from Blizzard. We love games. We were super inspired by tower defense games. Our game isn't really tower defense, it's more our style to do a tower offense game.
It's joyful chaos. And we're aiming to bring our Blizzard best to mobile games that inspire us. Chaos reigns.
All the chaos.
Can't use chaos twice.
Now, I'm not going to attack anyone at a personal level, but that entire ad is just incredibly cringe-inducing and kind of painful to watch, if we're being quite honest. So let's take another couple looks at two more examples, and then we'll move on from this portion.
Did you play any role in like World of Warcraft and StarCraft and maybe Diablo?
Did I play a role in
Like voice
as an
acting.
actor? As an actor?
Yeah.
Well, I hesitate to use the term as an actor, but what did I do? In StarCraft, I'm the Terran battlecruiser, battlecruiser operational. I'm the. Wow. How about how do I get out of this chicken shit outfit? I'm the Terran Marine. The original Ghost, Ghost reporting. I'm the original Ghost. World of Warcraft, I am Thrall. Actually, I did Logosh as well, which is not very good, but forgive me. I am Thrall. So all that. I don't know, guys. All sorts of stuff, like Ragnaros, I think, any number of bosses, but I hesitate to use the word actor, but I have had the privilege of serving with distinction in that geeky capacity.
It's a shame he has no skills, huh? Slug.
Here we have the Diablo 3 development team not too long after the release of Diablo 3, when it started to really take a lot of flack. David Brevik, who was one of the original creators of Diablo, had some negative things to say about the game, and you can see here that they really couldn't handle that criticism at all, and they acted very immature when they thought that it was private. So that leaked, and you can kind of get an idea of just the maturity level behind the current people working at Blizzard here. So where does this leave us in terms of Blizzard and their future? They have very big releases coming in the future. Diablo 4, an unannounced survival game with possible MMO features in it. So their future, if they turn things around, could potentially be bright. However, it's hard to say because they have just lost so much faith and goodwill that most people don't even believe them at face value anymore. After what happened with Diablo Immortal, where they came out and said that you won't be able to buy gear, leading people to believe that the game would not be pay to win, or that you wouldn't be able to purchase power just as directly as you can. And people felt slighted because while they said you can't buy gear, you can basically buy gems, which is where the majority of your character's power comes from. So now with Diablo 4, they've came out and made many recent statements and had their whole Q3 developers blog was focused on basically saying that Diablo 4 will not have any pay to win or pay to progress mechanics in the game, and a large percentage of people just flat out don't believe them. So that's a problem. Their future unannounced game, it's hard to really say without having seen anything of it, but there probably will be announcements before too long. However, there's starting to be a lot more competition with games like Path of Exile and Torchlight Infinity coming out in the near future that Blizzard just doesn't have as much of the market share as they used to. So this leads me to believe that Blizzard is in a decline and has been for quite some time. If they can go back to their roots, it's possible they can recover, but I just believe that too much of their staff is infected by certain ideologies that will make that impossible. So if you guys enjoyed this video, thanks for listening, thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed it, it really helps me out. And remember to give them the D.